live from the new sports betting capital of the world.
You might be from Texas, but I'm from New Jersey.
Benny Ricciardi is here to break down the day's betting board for you.
Let's go, Jerry. Go!
Taking a first look at the day's bets, it's time for the FTN Betting Show. Welcome to the FTN Betscast for Sunday, June 5th here at FTN Bets, sponsored by our friends over at Sleeper. Sleeper is the fastest growing fantasy platform today with millions of players, and now you can win on Sleeper by playing in their new over-under game. It's super easy. So first, in any sport, you're going to choose two or more players that you like and pick whether they're going to go over or under their listed total. So for example, today in NBA basketball, it would be things like the number of points they're going to score, the number of three-pointers they're going to hit, the number of rebounds they're going to get, anything along those lines. Then you're going to pick an amount of money that you want to put into this contest. And if you pick correctly, you can win anywhere from 2 times your money all the way up to 20 times your money if you pick 5 out of 5 and get them all correct. But the main reason why I'm excited about the over-under game on Sleeper is that it's the only app where I can join with my buddies contest and we could all play together. It has a built-in group chat where I can see what you're playing, you can see what I'm playing, and we could all see what the guy who's won 3 or 4 days in a row in our group is playing. And it's insanely fun when everybody is riding it out together and sweating the same things, rooting for the same things to happen so that we could all get a win. So stop what you're doing and download Sleeper now to play in the new over-under game. Have fun with your friends and make a little money in the process. On your mobile phone, you can join our listener group on Sleeper at sleeper.com/FTN Bets, and Sleeper will automatically match your first deposit up to $100. Again, go down to the description in this podcast, sleeper.com/FTN Bets, and you'll be eligible for that 100% match up to $100 on your first deposit. There are terms and conditions that apply, so see Sleeper's terms of use for the details. Today is a big day here. It is a Sunday, but we have game 2 of the NBA Finals between the Boston Celtics and the Golden State Warriors. A furious fourth quarter comeback put Boston up 1-0 in this series. Golden State still gets game 2 at home, though, and this is a game that I do expect Golden State to win. It opened at 3.5. It's up to 4.5 on most of the books that we work with out there. Let's see. If you're looking to play the Golden State Warriors, you can still get them at a -4 is the best price I can find. -110. DraftKings and Caesars both has them at that -4, -110 right now. And that would be the number that I'd be looking to play here today. I think Golden State turns it around. I do not see them going down 2-0 heading back to Boston. That would be a disaster for them. And Boston basically did their job. And we've seen this happen in a lot of other series as well. The road team wins one of the 2 games. If it's the first game, the team the favorite that loses the first game has done very well coming back in the second game, especially at home throughout the playoffs here and historically in general, to be honest. So I really like the Golden State Warriors in this game, and I like them to cover that -4. Now, if you're interested in getting money down on the Boston Celtics side of this today, you can get the Celtics as high as +4.5 at -110 on BetMGM. So standard -110 juice, +4.5 on BetMGM. So -4 on the Warriors, DraftKings, and Caesars, +4 MGM if you're looking to play the Boston Celtics side. I also wanted to mention the series price obviously moved with Golden State being favored to start and then Golden State losing game 1. The Celtics are now -190 to win the series over on DraftKings. Golden State is up to +160. If you think Golden State is going to bounce back, listen, what happened at the end of game 1, the Celtics got incredibly hot from deep. They knocked down, just off the top of my head, I want to say like 5 or 6 threes pretty much in a row. I think it was a 20-something to 4 run that they were on at one point in time. Golden State went into the fourth quarter of that game pretty much thinking they were going to be up 1-0 looking at game 2 already. And the Celtics just had a furious comeback. Like I said, they were just raining 3-pointers down in that game right there. Wound up coming away with the win. I think they went from being like down 10 to up 10 in, 7 or 8 minutes right there and wound up pulling away from this game. But for the most part, they were outplayed by the Golden State Warriors for most of that game, with the exception of that fourth quarter disaster when they fell apart. So I like the Warriors to bounce back here. Warriors -4. Warriors +160 on the series line is another number that I think we can put a little bit of money down on here today. I would definitely be interested in doing that. So now let's talk about the total of this game. So The total of this game opened at 216. Let's talk about game one first. Game one, the total opened at 211. It closed at 212. So people thought that 211 was a little bit low. This total opened at 216. And let's see, we're down to about 215 and a half. So right around that same number here right now. Most books have this at 215 and a half. Let's see, if you want to play an over 215 and a half minus 110 on DraftKings, good place to play the over there. If you want to play the under, you can get this juice down a little bit on PointsBet at minus 105. So remember, the Celtics went on that 3-point barrage at the end of the fourth quarter. The total of that last game ended at 228. So it went over by, 15, 16 points. I actually think I prefer the under in this game here because now we have a little bit of a higher number at, 215 and a half. It opened at 216. So the direction that this game is going is actually towards the under, whereas the last game opened at 211 and got bet up. So the steam was, to the upside there with the over. And again, like if you think about how that last game ended kind of in a frenzy. Like the fourth quarter of that game, the Celtics were down and they really needed to come back. So they were scrambling. They were, bombing up threes. They were trying to play fast. They were pushing the pace. And yeah, I know the Golden State Warriors didn't really score that much in that quarter. But again, we also have to give credit to Boston for the defense that they played there. But I think this 216, 215 and a half number is a good number. I didn't play an over or an under here, but if I had a lean here, I would probably be looking at the under here rather than the over. Remember, these were two very good defensive teams during the regular season here. So I do not expect this to be a 240, 235 point kind of game like the Memphis Golden State games that we were seeing, or, some of those Boston Milwaukee games that we were seeing. I think this series is going to be played in the 215 to 225 range here. Maybe even a little bit below that, which is what I'm hoping for today. So if I had to play a side, I'd play an under. But like I said, I didn't touch this total. So let's move on and talk about a couple of the player props here. There's a few that I'm interested in. A couple of them that I like in the sports book. A couple of them that I like on our sponsor Sleeper that I'll be playing over there. First one I want to talk about is Klay Thompson under 3.5 3-pointers made. Now, I know this sounds counterintuitive, but, the under on 3.5 threes for Klay, minus 139 on Unibet is the best price you can find on that. A lot of minus 140s and even minus 145 on Caesars over there. So really, when you look at it, they're giving him like a 58% chance to get under 3.5 3-pointers here today. He was, he did not go over 3.5 in the first game against Boston. He only went over 3.5 in 1 of 5 games against Dallas, and he only did it in 2 of 6 games against Memphis. So in the last 3 series, Klay Thompson over 3.5 3-pointers has only cashed in 3 of his last 12 games here. That's 1 out of 4, which means, basically 1 out of 4. We should have like minus 300 odds on this based on that. So, Klay is obviously one of the best shooters in NBA history. I think he has the second most 3-pointers in playoff history now, behind only teammate Steph Curry. And I think he went ahead of LeBron James with what he did last game there. Yes, the guy can shoot. Yes, he can get hot. I mean, he had 8, I think, in the closeout game against Dallas in the last series. But again, he's only done this 1 out of every 4 games that they played right now. So, when you see these minus 140, minus 145 here on Caesars, 58% chance is what the implied probability of that is. Klay Thompson under 3.5 3-pointers is something I'd be looking at. At a minus 140, though, it's not something I'm playing on the sports books. This is something that we'd probably rather play over on the Sleeper app. But I do like Klay Thompson under 3.5 3-pointers. Let's talk about his teammate Andrew Wiggins here, because there's a couple Andrew Wiggins props that I'm interested in. One that that I already did actually put a bet in on the sports books is Andrew Wiggins over 16.5 points for this game. It's minus 110 over on FanDuel. It's minus 120 on DraftKings, minus 125 to minus 130 on the rest of the books. So we're getting about a 10 to 20 basis point better price by playing it at the minus 110 over on FanDuel for that over 16.5. Wiggins went over this number last game, and in fact, he's gone over this number in 5 of the last 7 games that the Golden State Warriors have played here. Wiggins has really stepped up. He's been knocking down a couple shots from deep, which we'll get to in a second here. And he's also been a guy that's been attacking the rim and kind of finishing there. He's had some monster dunks in the last couple series. He's finishing on fast breaks. He's attacking the basket. This looks like the Andrew Wiggins that people were talking about when he came out as the number 1 overall pick, and people were like, my God, this guy's going to be a star. It hadn't really happened for him up to this point, but he has been proving his worth in these playoffs here, not only with his scoring, but also with what he's been doing on the defensive end of the floor over here. So, really big fan of the way Andrew Wiggins has been playing right now. And the defense is what's keeping him on the floor for the major minutes that he's been playing in these recent series. So we got to respect that. And with those extra minutes is going to come extra shot opportunities, extra opportunities to score. And that's why he's gone over 16 and a half points in 5 of his last 7 games. So minus 110 on FanDuel, Andrew Wiggins over 16 and a half points. Definitely interested in that. One thing I would be interested in on the sleeper app as well is the over 1.5 3-pointers for Andrew Wiggins. We played this last game and we cashed on it. It's still in that minus 125 to minus 130 range. So like a 56, 57% implied probability. Now, again, he did only knock down 2 threes in that last game. But the reason why we wanted to play it and what I was saying to you guys is it's more about the volume, right? So he took 7 threes again in that game. He's been averaging over 6 so far here. He's going to shoot over 33%. So if he's taking at least 6 threes, there's a good chance that he's going to knock down at least 2 of them. If he's taking 7 or more, like he did last game, there's a very good chance that he's going to knock down at least 2 of them. So I like this one more on the sleeper app. I wouldn't play it minus 125, minus 130 on the sports books, but over on the sleeper app, over 1.5 3-pointers, definitely something I think we can include in some of our bets here today. The next one I want to talk about, let's switch over to the Boston Celtics side. I got 2 bets on the Celtics side that I'm looking at, 2 plays that I want to make here. One of them is going to be one of my plays in the sleeper contest, and that's going to be Jason Tatum over 6.5 rebounds. If you look at the sports books, this is minus 135 on FanDuel, all the way up to minus 145 on Caesar. So again, 57, 58% implied probability of happening over here. In game 1, he only had 5 rebounds, but the last 4 games of the series against Miami, he had 8 or more rebounds in every one of those games. He averaged over 8 rebounds in that series against Miami. I think the 5 rebounds in game 1 was a little more fluky than anything else. So I'm looking for Tatum to go over 6.5. Like I said, the bettors in the books have this minus 135, minus 145. So they're looking for it to go over as well. We can still play that 6.5 rebound number on sleeper. And I think that's one that I would be looking to play today. So Jason Tatum over 6.5 rebounds. Not touching it at minus 135, minus 145 on the sports books, but I do like this over on the sleeper app. One other one that I am touching and have touched already on the sports book is Marcus Smart over 14.5 points. This is juiced down a little bit to minus 106 on FanDuel, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me. In the 2 regular season games that he played against the Golden State Warriors, he averaged over 18 points per game. In game 1 against the Golden State Warriors in the playoffs, he had another 18-point game here. And here's the thing, like if you look at what the Celtics were trying to do, when Steph Curry is guarding Marcus Smart, they're trying to run a 2-man game with Marcus Smart and Jason Tatum, where Marcus Smart comes off that screen and tries to draw Andrew Wiggins to him, leaving Steph Curry on Jason Tatum. And then Tatum goes and tries to play in that short post area over there into the corner. And when they dump the ball down, what was happening last game is Wiggins was sloughing off to be the help man with Steph Curry on Jason Tatum. And what that did is it left Marcus Smart wide open for Tatum to draw Wiggins to him and then kick it to Smart. And Smart knocked down a couple threes. I think he had 4 3-pointers in that game. Now, do I think he's going to knock down another 4 3-pointers? No, I think he shot like 4 of 7. So he shot over 50%. But again, if you look at the threes that he knocked down, a lot of them were wide open looks. And guys in the NBA are going to knock down wide open looks. That's something that they do. So if this is the way that Golden State is going to try to defend that, where, you know, they're going to have Wiggins just kind of slough off in the middle to be a help man, and they're going to leave Steph Curry one-on-one, you know, with the direct defense on Tatum, trying to steer him to the middle back to where that help is, it's going to leave Marcus Smart open there on the outside. So I do think Smart can knock down some threes. And I got to be honest, the books pretty much agree with me. Last game, Smart was over 1.5 threes. I don't know, it was like minus 125, something like that. Like we got a decent price on it. Now, if you want to play over 1.5 threes for Marcus Smart, the only place that still has it at over 1.5 is BetMGM, and it's juiced all the way up to minus 200, which is insane. They're giving it like a 66% probability of happening there. I think that he's going to knock down a couple threes. I think he could probably even knock down 2 or 3 of them there. And again, if he knocks down 2 or 3 of them, we only need him to get over 14.5 points. He's going to have a steal and a layup here or there. He may knock down a couple free throws as well. So if we can get 2 or 3 3-pointers out of Marcus Smart, this over 14.5 number is basically a lock. Again, I could have played the over 1.5. Well, it's over 2.5 on most sites now, although they are giving you like a plus 105 or plus 102, something like that on it. I couldn't play the 3-point number here, but I really do like that points number at over 14.5 for minus 106 on FanDuel. That's one that I played, and that's one I think you guys should be looking to get some money down on too. So there you go. That wraps it up for today's NBA. Oh, you know what? That does not wrap it up. Let me give you our sleeper play of the day real quick. Remember, you can go down to the description of this podcast. You'll see it down there, sleeper.com/FTN Bets. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on that link. That brings you to our sleeper group. Then you're going to make your first deposit. Again, I tell everybody, if you can afford to put in $100, put in $100 because that's how you get the maximum bonus there. You put $100 out of pocket, you're going to end up with $200 to bet with, $200 to play in these contests with. So I will go, and here's what I would do with that $200. I would take Andrew Wiggins over 1.5 3-pointers here, and Jason Tatum over 6.5 rebounds. You take Wiggins over 1.5 3-pointers, Tatum over 6.5 rebounds. Both of those things happen. You turn the $100 that you put in out of pocket into $600 for a return of plus 500, much better than you're going to get on any of the sports books. So get down to the description of this podcast. Remember, sleeper.com/FTN Bets. Click that description, click that link down there in the description, and that'll get you in. Jason Tatum over 6.5 rebounds, Andrew Wiggins over 1.5 threes. That should put some extra money in your pocket here today. And now that is going to wrap it up for today's edition of the FTN Bets Cast here at FTN Bets, sponsored by Sleeper. Good luck today, everybody.
Live from the new sports betting capital of the world.
You might be from Texas, but I'm from New Jersey.